Well, she didn't exactly equal a national record of 482 last night. That was a height, but it was actually a new Canadian indoor record, of course, having cleared 472 on only the third attempt. She went over first time. Wasn't a good night, by the way, for Stefanidi and Morris, the Olympic champion and Olympic silver medalist, respectively. Casey Najot took second place, clearing 482 as well at the first attempt. It was only her third vault of the night, having come in at 462 and clearing that at the second attempt. But second in the US Championship, second in the Pan Am Games. She had a bit of a dip, was 7th in Birmingham a couple of weeks back, and then 6th in Paris last week. So this was really good
it's a 3-2-1,
return to form. Yes, I do. I know. I just like to fail that time, really, until somebody says, shut up, we've got the levels right. But he did say they were having problems, so thank you for that, Banana, Steve. Angelika Sidorova, authorised neutral athlete, and a Russian first-time clearances for her to win at 462, 472, 482, and 487. She won by a clear height, having won in London a few weeks back. Was only 7th in Paris last week, Stephen. Can you explain that?
Who are we talking about?
Angelika.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, no.
Oh, no.
Right.
Okay, Patrick.
It looks like...
That's got to be a wind-up.
No. It looks like Spock and Chekhov. Yeah, Star Trek, look. Spock on the left, and that's this one. And Chekhov, the other one.
Yeah, I suppose so. All right. Oh, my word.
Oh, hang on, gets better.
Oh, no. Oh, that's rubbish.
No, I've got the relay picture.
Look.
Pete Tom.
I'm not one.
Pete Tom.
Yeah.
What is the road?
H264
There is the lineup for the men's 110-metre hurdles. In lane 2 is Cameron Fillery, the bronze medalist at the European Under-23 Championships recently in Sweden. Just 20 years old, the Brit. Simon Ehammer of Switzerland goes in lane 1. He's just 19. Hassan Fofana of Italy, 5 times Italian champion, goes in lane 3, a best of 13.44, marginally quicker than the 2 men to his left. Then the big guns, Pascal Martineau-Lagarde. He's a big fella, 6'3", that's 1.90 m. The European champion from Berlin last year, holds the French national record, twice a World Indoor Championship silver medalist, and 4th in Rio. Martineau-Lagarde, form. Jason Joseph of Switzerland, just 20 years old, very close to his lifetime best this season with 13.41. He's the European Under-23 champion, finished just ahead of Fillery a few weeks ago in Sweden, over in lane 2. And then David King, 2 times national champion, the Briton. He's the 25-year-old in lane 6, best of 13.55 this year. Mike O'Hara of Jamaica goes in lane 7, twice world youth champion, over 200 meters, good flat speed. Brian Peña of Switzerland goes in lane 8, 13.86, that's all this year. You might struggle with the likes of Pascal Martineau-Lagarde, and Nicolas Rueg of Switzerland completes the lineup in lane 9, just 18 years old, 14.29, his lifetime best earlier on this year. He must be a very nervous young man, although he has a big future. Rueg in lane 9 is European Under-18 Championship bronze medalist from last year. So, Martineau-Lagarde stands out here, head and shoulders above the rest. To the right of picture there, in lane 4, he's a sub-13 second performer is Martineau-Lagarde, ranked in the world top 10 this year with 13.24, but he should finish this one with daylight behind him if all goes well. Ehammer in 1, Fillery in 2, Fofana in 3, Martineau-Lagarde goes in 4, Jason Joseph in 5, King 6, O'Hara 7, Peña 8, Rueg in lane 9. Well, just waiting to see where that transgression might have been. And
Can't see anywhere there, Tim.
no,
Not the reaction times anyway. Looked a clean start as well. Maybe a yellow card coming. Which is still a warning. It's a warning for David King. The 2 British athletes, amongst 1 or 2 others here, there's a World Championship qualifying time of 13.46. We give them automatic selection for the British team. The wind, Tim, I don't think is going to be in the favour of all the sprints tonight, sadly.
well, we shall see. There's not a great deal of breeze around. It was a very good B race 400-metre hurdles half an hour or so ago. It was won in under 50 seconds. For the second time of asking, then, the men go to their blocks in this 110-metre hurdles. The stadium record, I don't think we need to worry about that. It goes back to 1989, Roger Kingdom, 12.92. But Pascal Martineau-Lagarde goes in lane 4. The Frenchman is the reigning European champion. He has broken 13 seconds. That was a few years back. But Ehammer goes in 1 for Switzerland. Fillery of Great Britain 2. Fofana 3. Pascal Martineau-Lagarde goes in 4 there with the green armband to the 4th from right. Joseph, King, O'Hara, Peña and Rueg complete the lineup. Oh dear, oh dear. Well, if it is the technical problems, it's good to get them out of the way before the main international program gets underway in about 10 or 12 minutes' time. Frustrating, this.
He looked pleased, didn't he, Pascal? This is frustrating for athletes because, again, the reaction time doesn't look as though anyone has transgressed the 0.1. So it's either a technical problem, they're just looking again. How many chefs does it take?
Well, taking their time to go back to their blocks, perhaps the 2 most experienced athletes here, Martineau-Lagarde and Joseph, in lanes 4 and 5 respectively. You know they need to reboot themselves psychologically as well as physically. And Joseph in lane 5. And he's not protesting, Steve, so it's seems to be very accepting of that. Jason Joseph, that's a great shame for the Swiss 20-year-old. European under-23 champion, European junior champion. The former was this summer, but European junior title was back in 2017, but that's a huge shame. Recently won the Swiss title in Basel. It was very, hardly visible to the eye there.
Well, if that's a false start, he must have put some pressure on the pad. He did stop quicker than anybody else, so maybe he knew. Here we go again.
So, for the third time of asking, this men's 110-metre hurdle. Simon Ehammer of Switzerland in 1, Cameron Fillery of Britain in 2, Hussein Fafana in 3, Martin Lagarde, the European champion, goes in 4. Joseph was disqualified in 5 for a full start just now. King in 6, O'Hara 7, Peña 8, Nick Roeg in lane 9. But watch Martin Lagarde, head and shoulders above the rest of this field. Fourth from right. Good this time, the third time of asking. Martin Lagarde going well at the moment. King's giving him a good run for his money. They're in lane 6 there in the white and centre of picture. In fact, might even be leading it marginally at the moment. Just beginning to ease ahead now with Martin Lagarde. It's going to be tight at the line. 13.51 there for Martin Lagarde. King, well, his season's best 13.55. It won't have been much outside that. It was a slight headwind, minus 0.8. But Martin Lagarde there, being kept on his toes, so to speak, if you'll forgive the pun, by Britain's David King, 2 lanes to his right. But the win, as expected, for the Frenchman.
Well, you have to feel for David King, not because he got beat by Pascal Martin or Lagarde, but that's a very good race against one of the world's best, and when he's at his best, into a headwind, which was 0.8, which would have seen him reasonably close to that World Championship qualifying that he required of 13.46. So, good performance from the 2 British athletes behind Martin Lagarde. However, he has won this not by much, and I just feel as though Martin Lagarde, wasn't he 5th in the championships, and just looking for some sort of form, isn't really moving between the hurdles particularly well. The tall Frenchman, it's all a bit of an effort at the moment, isn't it? By contrast for King, you know, this is the sort of territory he'd love to be in more frequently. Look how close he was to springing a real surprise, and look at him, he's already looking at the clock, but he knows that, well, it was good, it was a good performance, but Martin Lagarde gets the win. 13.51, King 13.58, Fillery third, 13.74.
Well, last night in Zurich's main station, the Bahnhof, actually in the ticket hall, there was a fascinating women's pole vault. Alicia Newman, in wonderful form, the Canadian, and won in Paris last Saturday, and a national record of 4.82. Repeated the trick here last night. 4 meters 82, actually, of course, a Canadian indoor record. The Commonwealth champion delighted with that performance. She cleared 4.72 at the 3rd attempt. That was the first time clearance for Alicia Newman. And some significant scalps to boot. In 2nd place, Katie Najot cleared 4.82 at the 1st attempt and took 2nd place overall ahead of Newman on countback. It was only her 3rd vault of the night. She came in at 4.62, cleared that 2nd time. This first time clearance at 4.82 was her best of the evening. She was third here in 2017, the US Championship silver medalist, and delighted with that one as well after poor form in Birmingham and Paris, where she was 7th and 6th respectively in the last 2 weeks. But Anzelika Sidorova, an ANA, authorized neutral athlete from Russia, well, she had a fabulous night, as you could see there. First time clearances at 4.62, 4.72, 4.82, and her winning height of 4.87. Winning by a clear height from Najot and Newman's 4.82. Brilliant vaulting from the Russian. She had one in London a few weeks back, but was only 7th in Paris last Saturday with 4.75. This certainly made amends. It wasn't a good night, the vaulting for Stefanidi, the Olympic champion, or Morris, the Olympic silver medalist. But there's the 1, 2, 3. Sidorova, Najot and Newman in the women's pole vault here in Zurich. That height from Sidorova equaling the meeting record, 4 meters 87.
So the women out on the track for the 800 metres invitational event. One or two, well, more than one or two, 3 or 4 world-class athletes in this who are hoping for either sharpness or 1 or 2 still chasing qualifying times for the World Championships. So from the outside, Balcanator will be the pacemaker. Somewhere just under 60 seconds, we think. Hoffman sharing a lane with her. And then the former world champion, back in 2013, Yunus Sum, was the best in the world, 31 years of age now. Is running pretty well, just around the 2 minutes, 2:1 mark. Kate Grace of the USA has been in good form this year, missed out on making the US team in the 1500 meters, so running the 800 here, sub-2 this year. Not sadly for Selina Buchel, the former European indoor champion, star of Swiss athletics for many years, been struggling a little of late. Then sharing a lane, we've got Fela of Switzerland, a young 20-year-old, setting a new personal best this year. But watch out, I think perhaps the pre-race favourite, Hedda Heine from Norway. She beat Yunus Sum in Rovereto on Tuesday night, running just outside 2 minutes. Josvic, another coming back from injury problems, sharing a lane with Rosamilia from Switzerland. Josvic, European bronze medalist in this stadium in Zurich in 2014. Second in the Polish Championships just recently. Second behind this woman, Anna Sabat. Now, that was a little bit of a surprise. It's Sabat in lane 2. And Ellie Baker of Great Britain, silver medalist at the European Under-23 Championships earlier in the summer. So Selina Buchel, I'm sure, will want to try and raise her game, at least with a season's best performance in front of a home crowd here. Women's 800 metres. So a reasonably sized field, not too many in it, and Balcanaiters on the outside will cut across after the first 100 metres. And Yunus Sum looks as though she's slotting in quite quickly behind her, so is Heine, the Norwegian. Josvic trying to move up, and Buchel in mid-pack at the moment. Through the first 200 metres, they're fairly swift, around about 27 seconds, so you can see, Tim, they're quite well stretched out here, so might be a little bit quick for most of the field here. She probably just needs to check back a little.
I couldn't agree more, Steve. Yes, single file up to 300. Suggests it's very healthy indeed up front, and I wonder who will be able to survive this sort of pace. Buchel desperately looking for a return to her better form, with having not broken 2:01 this year. She's a 1:57 athlete, and if she's ever going to find some form prior to the World Championship, it should be tonight. But that time in the bell, just about perfect, 58.1.
59 and bits for most of the field here, and Kate Grace, just watch her, good 1500 metre strength and sub 2 minutes this year in the red, and just moving past Selina Buchel. Ellie Baker of Great Britain trying to follow the American, but there's a big gap from the pacemaker to Yunus Sum. Pacemaker's just gone out now, and there's Kate Grace moving up. So it's Hedda Heine of Norway, who's been in such good form, winning in Rovereto on Tuesday, where she ran away from Yunus Sum in the last 200 metres, but there's company there. The Polish athlete Sabat just on the inside, Buchel getting a little closer, but it's Hedda Heine, Yunus Sum, Kate Grace sitting and waiting. These three got a 2 metre gap to Sabat, and Heine's got to try and find something a little bit extra here, because under pressure from Sum, and the American on the outside. Buchel rallying, but too much to do. Yunus Sum, the former world champion, just getting an advantage. She's going to hold on to this. Sum takes it from Grace, and Heine 2 minutes, 0.4. Improvement again for the Kenyan. That's a season's best for her. I mean, she's a 1:56 runner at her very best a few years ago now, but just looks stronger there in the home straight. And Kate Grace couldn't quite get past her, and others were still struggling, including Buchel. I mean, it's been a disappointing year for her. I know she's missed quite a lot, but that won't improve matters, really. welcome to the Letzigrund in Zurich for the first Diamond League final of 2019. Timing is always important in Switzerland, and this meeting couldn't come at a better stage of the season, as the World Championships are now just 4 weeks away. The prize of Diamond League champion awaits those who arrive here at the top of their game, and they will have to be, because many of the fields are stacked with the world's best athletes. A beautiful evening in Zurich, 22 degrees, 25,000 spectators in the Letzigrund. Sam Kendricks of the USA heads an amazing field in the men's pole vault. His recent 6m6 backed up by another 6m clearance in Paris last week. And a wonderful field there with Duplantis and others. And by contrast, we haven't seen Kenzebi Dibaba at a Diamond League meeting since the end of June, but she returns in a 1500 metres full of talent, bringing back the great middle distance races of this wonderful meeting. And Noah Lyles will be running the 100 metres, will not be running the 100 metres of the World Championships, but the US star can show off his credentials in the short sprint, taking on Doha favourite Justin Gatlin. $50,000 to the Diamond League champions. 16 of them will be named tonight. Of course, the other 16 in Brussels next week. And the Letzigrund packed out as ever, many of them standing in the section on the first bend, the rest all seated now. But it's a wonderful atmosphere, it always has been. We're really looking forward to so many highlights. The 400 metre hurdles, men and women. We mentioned that pole vault, 5,000 men, 1,500. We've got a great javelin as well in the men's, women's triple jump. So much to look forward to. Our first event, though, is going to be on the track, 400 metres, and it's good evening to Tim Hutchings. Evening, Tim.
Thanks, Steve. Yes, good evening, everybody. The ladies are stripping down for this one-lap race. Fabulous evening coming at us here for the next 2 hours. The stadium packed out, 25,773 the capacity, and there is hardly a seat spare, and those are just people who are probably stuck in traffic. But ironically, it hasn't been a vintage season for 400 metres. Only 4 women under 50 this year. A lot of eyes on lanes 4. Salwa Aidnasa of Bahrain, though. We'll come to her in a minute, the World Championship silver medalist. There's Jessica Beard, very experienced, hasn't raced since the 27th of July. Never broken 50 seconds, Beard is so close to it, the 30-year-old. Laviai Nielsen, the UK champion from last week. Big personal best at the London Diamond League a month or so back. 52.04 she ran last week. She'll need to go a lot quicker to make the top 3 here. There's the reigning European champion, the Pole, Justyna Świecioszyc. She goes in 6th. Only 3rd in the Polish Championships last weekend, though. And there is Stephanie Ann McPherson, 3rd in the Jamaican Championships. She, too, very consistent. 1 in Paris last Saturday, 1 in Rovereto midweek. But Aidnasa, well, the 21-year-old former Nigerian, runs for Bahrain now, has had a quadriceps injury, hasn't raced since the 17th of July. Won a 200 metres in Barcelona back then, and it's very interesting to see how she goes in 4. There's Shakima Wimbley, US champion, the 24-year-old, 3rd in Paris last week. She's run 50.2 this year. She's a 49.5 athlete. Kendall Ellis of the USA, 2nd in those US Championships, 2nd in Paris last week. Peaked well for this second half of the season. She was 6th in Rome and 7th in Rabat, but much better the last few weeks. And there is Lisanne de Witte of the Netherlands, the European Championship bronze medalist from last year. Hasn't broken 151.50 this year, however. Well, the meeting record, I don't think, is under threat. Tračoč Vilova ran 48.86 here back in 1982. Only one of the 4 ladies under 50 seconds this year is in this race. But the first 3 from Paris last Saturday are here. De Witte goes in 1, Ellis 2, Wimbley in 3. Watch Aidnasa of Bahrain in 4. She's had a fabulous season. Consistent wins up to mid-season. McPherson, Świecioszyc, Nielsen and Beard complete the lineup. Well, Aidnasa in lane 4 is about the smallest in the race, but she has this reputation for judging her races to perfection. She's gone up pretty quickly. Already closing up on McPherson there in the blue. There's Aidnasa. Lovely, smooth run, long stride. She really does hits the track with those feet of hers. Beautifully fluid style. She's pulling away from Wimbley, their 3rd from right. Centre of picture. But Aidnasa, is she back to her best? She's had fabulous wins in Shanghai, Rome, Rabat, Lausanne, and a smaller meeting in Hungary in recent months. But here she comes into the straight with a good lead over the rest of this field now. She's back to her best. Good running in lane 3 from Shakima Wimbley to hold on to second place at the moment, and Davitta too in lane 1 fighting for a place in the top 3. But look at that winning margin from Aid Nasser, 50.24. She wins by 6 or 7 meters, holds her form so wonderfully well down the home straight. That is her USP. Boy, oh boy. Well, close to 50 seconds when she hasn't raced for something like 6 weeks. Very, very useful indeed, and she will build on that, I'm sure, over the next few weeks, Steve, as the World Championships in Doha, now 4 weeks away, get closer and closer. She wins by almost a second from Wembley.
Yes, very impressive, as she has been all season before her injury, and this will give her a lot of confidence to know, okay, that's behind me now, I can now concentrate on getting ready for Doha. Showed, look at this, the distance between herself and the rest of the field is immense, and I know the women's 400 hasn't been of vintage quality this year, but 2 or 3 are. Don't forget, she will be facing Miller Weibo in that 400 meters in Doha, Miller Weibo in the 200 tonight, but those two, maybe 1 or 2 others, seem to be so far ahead of the rest of the world, and she proved it there. You know, when you miss a bit of time, the one thing, you know, even in mid-season, a season like this when the championships are so late, it can freshen you up mentally as well as physically, because it is a long season. They all started quite early, she did, so the injury may just have come at the right time, if injuries ever can come at the right time, as long as they're not too serious that you miss too much. And on the evidence of tonight, she hasn't missed too much at all.
Well, there it is, 50.24 ahead of Wembley and Davitta. Good run that from the Dutch athlete, season's best for Davitta.
An enthralling women's triple jump, and the scene was set in round 1. Pavia, the 23-year-old Cuban, went out to 14.49 right at the beginning of the competition. That would remain her best, though. It was good enough for 3rd place, holding off the recent US champ, Katura Orji. Now, Yulimel Rojas of Venezuela has been in record form recently, twice over 15 meters, and after a decent 14.60 opener, looked that it might stay that way again tonight, but she lost the lead, and it wasn't until the 6th round she finally improved to 14.74. Thought that might be good enough, but it wasn't. There was 1 jump left. Shanika Ricketts of Jamaica, in the form of her life, last jump of the competition, produced a huge leap of 14 meters and 93, adding 15 centimeters to her previous best, which she set recently at the Pan Am Games in Peru. It's the first time she's beaten Rojas since August 2017. It is inching ever closer to the magical 15-meter mark. Excellent competition, but what a win for Ricketts. What an improvement, what a season she's having. Perfect on the board, by contrast to Rojas, on whose last attempt she was 20 centimeters off the board. Rojas having all sorts of problems again with her run-up tonight, which is a really contrast to the sort of form she's been in just recently. But the story was not about the Venezuelan tonight, it was about Ricketts. And how happy was she? There's Rojas congratulating her.
So, Ghazal at 2.24, the World Championship medalist in this pole vault, in this high jump, not having a good night at all. On the bed nearest us on this first bend, I'm afraid. The Syrian going out at 2.24. And Barshim, who has had all sorts of injury problems, also not having the best of nights. He going out at 2 meters 20. Well, he will come back, I'm sure, the 28-year-old.
It's a shame, isn't it, for Barshim in the championship year when it's in Doha. You know, that ankle injury last year, he only started training again in April. And we thought, I think, when he first came back and a couple of 2.27s that he might be on his way back, but Barshim still with a lot of work to do, and quite a few men struggling at these early heights. The men's high jump generally this year really down, isn't it? Anything in the 2.30, 2.31 mark, you're right up there.
Yes, it is struggling. Mike Mason at 2.30, just tipping it off there. He's been in such good form recently too, Mason. That's an enormous shame for the Canadian. And at 2.30 as well. Ivanyuk. going out tonight. Has been whittled down before the 2:30 mark. The likes of Jerome Robinson of the USA. And in fact, Wang Yu retiring after one failure at 2:27.
Pretty crowded down there, isn't it? The men's 800 will be next on the track, but the javelin is taking place down there as well as the high jump. So just having to wait their turn a little bit. It's always a bit disruptive sometimes in the Diamond League meetings for one or two of the field events, having to wait their turn while other events are happening. So that high jump, they've been taking their attempts in between track races and, as I said, the javelin as well. So let's move to the men's 800 meters. Doesn't matter which event you look at, you keep looking at it and going, wow, what a field this is. And there won't be many people missing from those who are going to be in Doha. Not this man, he's the pacemaker, Haroon Abdaz, although he's not a bad 800-meter runner at all, from the Oregon Track Club. And Emmanuel Correa, well, a car accident during the season really set him back somewhat, and still trying to find the sort of form that saw him as the favourite perhaps over the last couple of years, the best in the world. But other Kenyans taking over, Ferguson Rotich, for instance. And Nigel Amos, well, Amos ran his quickest time since 2012 in that wonderful race in Monaco, 1:41.89, but then he pulled up in London on the first lap. So is Amos fully recovered? The Commonwealth Games champion, Kinyamal of Kenya, another who could win this tonight. So could Clayton Murphy at his best. The Olympic bronze medalist was second in the US Championships just recently. 1:44 season's best in Lausanne. Then we've got Brandon McBride. What a win for him in Paris last week. The Canadian loves to be out in front, likes to hold off the charges from everybody else in the home straight. Donovan Brazier trying to learn to run a little bit differently, the American champion. What a talent, still just 22. Starting to look more mature and more composed in his racing. And then Amel Tuka, bronze medalist from the World Championships in 2015. Again, back to some good form this year. Finished third behind Lewandowski in his last race in Switzerland. So I think the big question here is Nigel Amos fully fit? He looked so good earlier in the season, bringing back memories of all his great races in 2012, 2014. Beat David Rudisha here in the Diamond League a few years back. But Emmanuel Correa, this incredible talent, who himself ran 1:42.05 in London last year, he's had his problems as well. And then the other two Kenyans, Kinyamal, Rotich, and the Americans, Brazier, Murphy, McBride of Canada. Men's 800. So they've been asked for a pretty good pace here, and Haroon is not bad at all. I think he's a very good pacemaker, actually. 49 flat, it is Zurich. It's still a little bit breezy down there, but he's going to just go and do the job he was asked for. The question is, who tucks in behind him? And they're from the same training camp, the two of them. So Amos letting his training partner take them through that a pretty swift first 200. Look how far back some of the others are. Really left behind Brazier and Murphy. This is very quick at the moment, through 300, Tim, in about 36.5.
It's superbly fast, isn't it? And reduced to single file indeed into two packs. Look at Murphy, left a picture. He's way off the base, 15 meters back through. They go through 400. 48.23, Steve. It's lightning fast. One of the quickest ever 400-meter splits. I love to see Amos race this way. He really lays it on the line.
Amos chasing, Correa left at the moment, but is closing up on Amos. Has Amos overcooked this? Kinyamal and Rotich chasing, then McBride, then a big gap to Brazier and Murphy and Tuka. This isn't an 800-meter race, they're all over the track. There's so many gaps out there. Look at Amos, though, 74.4 through 600. This is quick, it's very fast, and he's not slowing at the moment. Others are treading water behind him. Amos, can he last the last 100 meters? This has got to be hurt. Correa is treading water. Brazier coming from way back. Amos is going backwards now. Look at his head, and look at Brazier. Brazier's going to win this from the way back in the field. Incredible running. McBride might have even got second. Well, that's one way not to run an 800 meters. It was brave, but you might also say it was silly, because he was heading for a world record had he been able to maintain the pace. But it was Brazier with a perfectly judged performance, a new personal best, and that for Donovan Brazier signals a massive, massive. I hesitate to say I'm a gold medal contender, but you have to say that, Tim, after a performance like that. He's beaten the best around here, and he did it the right way. He judged it perfectly. He said in the past, I've been impetuous in the past, I haven't been smart about my racing, but goodness me, was he smart there. And that takes a lot to sit off it that much.
Well, Donovan Brazier came into this race with a 1:43 best for this year, indeed close to his lifetime best. But he judged that to perfection. You're dead right, Steve. And even he at 400 meters must have thought, what on earth are they playing at? He probably went through in 49.5, but it was way, way back. And even that was super fast. So no wonder it looked like he was flying down the home straight. In actual fact, the others were all running in treacle. And gosh, Amos here looked like he was running in melted tar.
That was only a 1/10 of a second off Johnny Gray's US record, which has stood for so long. And surely, look how relaxed he is coming down the home straight. That, to me, was a very mature performance. As I said, it does take a lot to trust yourself, Tim, to sit that far back. In an 800-meter race, at 2:50 to go, Brazier must have been 30 meters, at least, behind the leader. A set of fast times behind him, but it was the winner. That's the big story. Brazier, Amos will look at that and say, well, I had a go, and he was brave to go out that quick.
Well, we can go to the women's shot put competition now. And the stadium abuzz with that 800 meters. So we see Christina Schwanitz. So Schwanitz, well, she's the world champion from 2015, fabulously consistent. Won the European Team Championships just 3 weeks or so back with just under 19 meters. No woman in the world has broken 20 meters yet this year. That 19:37 from Schwanitz, a fabulous season's best with her opening effort.
Well, this is Chase Healy. Great season for her, winning on the Diamond League circuit as well, and that's a good effort from Chase Healy. Now, you know, tonight to produce your best, come to the Diamond League final in good form is great, but this could be the best she's ever thrown. Chase Healy there in this second round. That may well be a personal best, just waiting for it to come through. She knew it was good, didn't she? Even though she's looking pretty calm there. A little fist pump to herself to say, yep, that's it. Yes, it was. It was a new personal best, 1968.
Gong Li Zhao, though, going out in the 4th round to a massive heave. Opened with 19:15, then 19:36, then 19:43, and this, 19 meters 90. The best throw of the competition. She knew it too. So close to approaching the 20-meter margin. But the world #1 setting a world best with her 4th round effort.
Well, now this is Brandon Stark. Cricket fans will know Mitchell Stark, the Australian bowler. What a season he's having, and continues here in Zürich. 2 meters 30. Mitchell Stark was great competition for him in the Birmingham Diamond League, backing it up here again when others are faltering. And as I was saying earlier, anybody managing to clear 230, you've got a very good chance of winning any of the Diamond Leagues, and who knows, even going into the World Champs. So he moves into the lead, only Protsenko left.
Ivanov then at 2 meters 30, under real pressure. 3rd and final attempt. Goes clear. Well, Bulgarian equaling his season's best with that effort. Keeping calm. He knows there's more to do. Fabulous flexibility. Just easing over that one, the 25-year-old. And only a centimetre below his lifetime best from 2 years ago.
Well, here is Putsenko. Bar now at 2:32. Ah, that's good. That's lovely. Yeah, he's looked very good. Just one little falter, 2:24 when he had a failure. Ever since then, it's been first-time clearances for the Ukrainian. So Putsenko then gets the advantage. It's a tight competition, but that might be enough, who knows. Season's best, just at the right time.
Well, the sun setting rather gloriously as night encroaches over this jam-packed Letzigrund Stadium. The old stadium torn down in 2006, this one opened in 2007, and then of course hosted those fabulous European Championships in 2014. We can go to the women's 3,000 metre steeplechase now. 13 starts, it's a relatively small field, but what a lineup it is. Chepkoech, the meeting record holder with 8:55.1. That was from last year. She's the world record holder, of course, with that astonishing 8:44 in Monaco last July. So July 18, that is. And Emma Coburn, the reigning world champion from the USA, still yet to break 9 minutes, although we know she's well capable of it. The Rio bronze medalist, there's Klauser, very consistent, the European champion in 2016 and 2018. Mizmas of Slovenia, who set a personal best at Oslo. Chepkirui, world under 18 silver medalist back in 2017. She's still only 18 now. And Genevieve Lalonde of Canada set a national record at Shanghai back in May, and recently a 1500 personal best. How will she go here? So just over 7.5 laps of the track. Still only 5 women in history have broken 9 minutes, which makes that world record by Beatrice Chepkoech all the more remarkable. 8:44. 49 women in the world, by the way, this year have got the World Championship standard 9:40. It's a pretty soft standard, that. But only 11 women have broken 9:20 this season. The Kenyans, of course, on the men's side, dominate steeplechasing, like to think it's their property, and that's becoming the case in the women's steeplechasing, with 8 Kenyans in the world top 20 this year. Well, the pacemaker, Twigong, is tasked with going out in 2:53 here, which seems almost suicidal. It's 8:39 pace, very, very quick indeed, but slotting right into her slipstream as this field is spread-eagled before they've run even one lap is Beatrice Chepkoech, the world record holder. And you can see there Steve Coburn in 3rd place, trying desperately to cling on, but the gap developing already. They've gone through one lap now.
Yeah, you can see Emma Coburn's dilemma here. It's I know I want to. The competitive instinct in me says I want to go with Chepkoech and see if I can go with her. But as you've just said, 8:40 pace. I know that that sounds silly. It seems silly to go through the first 1,000 meters that quick. So the danger for her is that she's caught in this kind of no man's land. Geruto's tagged onto her, so maybe the two of them can work together. And if Chepkoech can't stay with the pace, can't work the pace, get a group of 3 together. But it's brave from Coburn, brave from Chepkoech, but of course we've seen her do this on so many times, so many occasions, with those 3 already with a good 10-meter gap on the rest of the field.
Well, Geruto, of course, Noro Geruto famously beat Chepkoech in Oslo at the Diamond League meeting a few weeks back. So Chepkoech in 2nd place has won 5 of her 6 steeplechases this year, but she knows full well that she can be vulnerable in a sprint finish. So she wants to clear out, I think, and get away from Geruto. And of course, Coburn, as we saw also clearly in that World Championship in London 2 years back, can sprint pretty well at the finish too. Coburn hasn't raced in a couple of weeks, but it was a 1,500 personal best of 4:04 in Memphis back on the 10th of August was her last race. So she's been working on her speed. She won her 8th US title back at the end of July, so she's had a good solid summer as Emma Coburn, even if she hasn't raced a great deal. And now Chepkoech all on her own, Steve. And Twigong there, the pacemaker, has been left in her wake, with Coburn just Geruto, almost using her as a pacemaker now. Twigong moves aside.
Yeah, it's a bit embarrassing when the person you're meant to be pacing for gets to 2 laps and that's enough, thank you very much, and moves out. 2:51 through the first kilometre. I don't know why she did that, because she wanted 2:53. 2:51, Tim, sorry. 2:51 through the first kilometre. If you're running a flat 3,000, that's just about world class. You know, if you run up sub 8:40, 8:35 in the flat 3,000, you'd be very happy indeed. So Emma Coburn must be thinking, well, if she knew, Emma Coburn herself went through in about 2:53.5, which for her is amazing. But look at this, Chepkoech is still running away. What is going to happen over the last 2-3 laps? Either something remarkable, Tim, or she's going to fall back to the rest of the field.
Well, shades of Amos in the 800 metres, who went out suicidally fast just 5 or 10 minutes ago and ended up getting caught by Donovan Brazier. Amos, by the way, still ran under 1:43. But Chepkoech here, has she overcooked it? A world record 8:44. If she can put together a solid middle kilometre here, is under severe threat. I mean, that's a 25-metre lead over Geruto, who won in Oslo, beating her, and the world champion, Emma Coburn, who's hoping to break 9 minutes for the first time. She's come so close. I was looking at Emma Coburn's record earlier. She's 9 times she's run under 9:10, a long way under 9:10, and several times pretty close to 9 minutes. She's had 1 or 2 falls in this season and last season, which have certainly affected her chances of breaking 9 minutes. But surely tonight, if she gets this right, there's an opportunity. Conditions absolutely perfect here in the Letzigrund. It's probably around 24 degrees centigrade, something like that. And Chepkoech here looking calm as she gets to around the halfway point. But Steve, that gap is still growing. It's astonishing.
Kieng has now joined on to Coburn and Geruto and is going quicker than them. You know, Coburn might rue that fast first 2 laps, 2.5 laps. Chepkoech, as you were saying, Tim, managing to keep the pace going, although she has dropped a little bit, understandably, but still heading for something fast. 6 times she's run under 9 minutes. Coburn trying to rally, will hope that she can pick up again, keep that little group together. If she's to have any chance of getting close to 9 minutes, has got to stay with those 2 right there. But Kieng started small, smartly, and is now looking the stronger of that group.
Well, that gap is closing. Chepkoech goes through with 3 laps to run, and there's no doubt about it. Kieng leading the chase now. She's only joined the duo in 2nd and 3rd, Geruto and Coburn, over the last 300 metres or so. But she's now leading the chase, maybe the freshest of the top 4. Chepkoech still has probably 15 metres going into the back straight, but with over 2.5 laps to run, and she looked really, really uncomfortable there. She's such long legs, but there was a lot of air there, a lot of time in the air over that barrier, and she's feeling this. She does have this knack of looking relaxed. We know she's got this enormous strength, but as she comes towards 2 kilometres now, that first kilometre, 2:51.89, that one, 3:05.71.
Oh.
I mean, it's 14 seconds slower.
Faller there, Tim, and I think I'm just trying to look to see who it was. It might have been Chespol. I'll just have a little, try and have another look in a second. But yes, your point well made. Kieng is running down Chepkoech. Now, can she rally? Well, that's a question. We said it was either going to be something remarkable or she's going to get eaten up by the field. It might be something in between, because we're certainly not in anything remarkable here. Just a silly first 1,000 metres when she didn't need to go that fast. We'll try and clear up what's happening behind, but Emma Coburn suffering, Kieng and Geruto trying to just get her within range. 2 laps to go, 15 metres.
So Chepkoech then goes into the back straight for the penultimate time. Her lead has stayed at about 15 metres for this last 400, or she has been closed down by Kieng in 2nd place, Geruto and Coburn in 3rd and 4th. Still no signs, outward signs of stress there on the features of Beatrice Chepkoech, the Rio Olympic 4th placer, and in fact, is that gap growing? Maybe Kieng putting too much effort in that middle kilometre to close up on the world record holder. Emma Coburn still hanging in there in 4th place to right of picture behind Geruto. Remember, Nora Geruto, the 23-year-old, was only 5th in Birmingham. So the season's best when she won at Oslo, beating Chepkoech. Has enormous strength. She ran a fast road 10 kilometres in the middle of the summer in the USA. But Geruto back in 4th place at the moment as these 3 gather together with 500 to run. And Chepkoech coming towards the bell has extended that lead. Her strength is remarkable. She's doubled her lead over the last 300 meters. It's now 30 meters.
Krauser is running down the second, third, fourth and fifth athletes as well. People very tired, almost climbing over the barriers, but you're absolutely right, Tim. Chepkoech went out hard, kind of sucked them in with that slow second kilometer, but has found enough to keep plenty of distance between herself and the others. But there is still a great chase on for the minor places.
Chepkoech then with 250 to run, surely has the race won. 30 meters her lead as Kieng in second place and Geruto cut loose with their sprint. Emma Coburn struggling, the world champion in fourth place, and she's being hunted down as well as Chepkoech comes to the water jump for the final time. A little zigzag there, almost like a chicane to get her stride right for the barrier. She clears it 20, 25 meters ahead of Kieng, who almost stumbles out of the water, but she still looks astonishingly relaxed and calm, considering she put herself under enormous pressure. Was clearly going for the world record here tonight, but absolutely misjudged it with a suicidal first kilometer. Solid second kilometer, strong enough final kilometer to stay clear, and wins here in Zurich. 3:04 that final kilometer, so her last 2 kilometers 3:05 and 3:04 after 2:51. That is the story in a nutshell. Crazy fast early pace from Beatrice Chepkoech. She does indeed win, but a world record opportunity has gone begging here tonight, which clearly was her goal. The rest of them finishing absolutely exhausted after a strange steeplechase here in the Letzigrund. Chepkoech winning in 9:01, Kieng 9:03, Geruto 9:05, and Coburn, well, boy, did she suffer, 6th in 9:10.
Yeah, she got passed by Krauser with a new German record, under 9:10 for the German, who judged it perfectly, well under 9:10. 9:7.51 for Krauser. Coburn paid for trying to stay with Chepkoech. And I guess Chepkoech knows, okay, so I wasn't running 8:45 tonight, but by going so hard early on, she made it difficult for herself. But of course, if you try and fly with the Eagles, you know what happens sometimes. And for Emma Coburn, maybe a lesson learned there. But Chepkoech is strong enough to cope with. There was, I think it was Yavi who went down really heavily. Sadly for her, Chespol didn't perform very well either. But Chepkoech, quite impressive how she rallied over the last 2 laps to come back. In the end, the winning time, probably not that spectacular by her standards, but she wins the Diamond League final.
Well, she has such enormous strength too. She's got a great 5,000 meter personal best, very quick over 3,000, and that may be key. Her strength over 5,000, her flat racing ability carried her through there. She still doesn't look particularly stressed, even seconds after crossing the line. Winning in 9:01.71, Beatrice Chepkoech from Kieng, Geruto and Jepkamai. Kenyan 1-2-3-4, ahead of that German record from Krauser.
Well, Chepkoech will definitely go to Doha as the champion. Sorry, as the favourite to become the champion.
Well, the women's javelin tonight with Gorodnikova in good form. She ended up taking third place on Gorodnikova of the Czech Republic. 63.05 coming in the third round for her. Silver medalist last year was the Czech. Kelsey Lee Barber of Australia, finding good form at just the right time. Commonwealth Games silver medalist last year, bronze medalist back in Glasgow 2014. Well, she was second in London at 65.85. Tonight, just a metre or so less, for second place at the Letzigrund, 64.74, coming in the fourth round of a solid series for the Australian. And Yu Huihui of China taking the win by just over 2 metres. This fourth round effort for the 30-year-old World Championship silver medalist in 2015 in front of the home crowd in the Bird's Nest, throwing 66.88 to keep the rest at bay. World record holder Barbara Spotakova, fifth on this occasion, 62.25. But Yu Huihui on top of the pile this evening to win this Diamond League final.
Well, the women's shots. Gong leading after Chase Healy took the early lead in round 2. But this is the final throw of the competition. Oh, that's a huge effort. Now, Gong has not been over 20 meters all season long, but this looks like she may have done here in the Diamond League final. Well, apart from winning the competition, that is going to be a world lead. And indeed, it's going to be a meeting record, 20 meters, 31 centimeters. And no wonder she's happy. Gong winning the women's shot with her best throw at the very end. Best in the world this year. What a confidence booster for her. Chase Healy, the new personal best, the American in 2nd place. Christina Schwanitz of Germany, season's best in 3rd, 1937. Well, next event on the track is the women's 200, but the men's high jump still going.
It is indeed. Andrei Protsenko finding 2:32. Good enough for the win tonight. That's his 3rd time failure on 2:34. But he won by a clear height. Ivanov of Bulgaria took 3rd with a 3rd time clearance at 2:30. Brandon Stark cleared that height 1st time, but then had 3 failures at 2:32. That fabulous 1st time clearance for Protsenko. And then, of course, failures at 2:34, which we've just seen the 3rd of. He was 2nd in the high jump with 2:28 last week. But what a shame to see athletes of the caliber of Mutaz Essabarshim back in 10th place, sharing that position with Ghazal. Big names just not firing so far this season in this particular discipline, and it allows athletes like the Ukrainian Protsenko to come through, although he is no mean performer. He's a 240 jumper, of course, in his own right, albeit that was 5 years ago. The 2:32 for him, a season's best, with Stark in 2nd and Ivanov in 3rd. Both clearing 2:30 and both equaling their season's bests.
Well, the sun is now set over Zurich. It is a beautiful evening, just a very slight breeze, but a red sky. We got any shepherds round here? Red sky at night, shepherd's delight.
Loads of them.
So over at the far end, the top end of the stadium, the women's 200 meters, one of the highlights of the night. There are so many, as I said at the beginning, every single event just full of star names, and there'll be plenty here for the locals to cheer as well. In lane 8, Blessing Okagbare won the 200 meters, surprised everybody in the US. And Miller Weibo in here tonight in lane 6. Dina Asher-Smith, the best in Europe, the Olympic champion Elaine Thompson. Kambunji ran startlingly fast in the Swiss championships just recently in Basel. And the Swiss will be cheering her on. Miller Weibo will not be contesting this event at the World Championships. Will stick with the 400 meters. The program does not allow her to double up. I think she would have done had it done so. She was disappointed. In fact, she lobbied the IAAF to try and change the program, but wasn't to be. So this is, we'll see whether she can take on this field. So Okagbare on the outside. She had a false start recently in the African Championships in the 100 meters in the semi-final, was disqualified. By contrast, Kambunji 20.26. You have to say her best performances have come in Swiss Championships each year, and indeed in this stadium. In the Diamond League, her best ever is 22.71. That's half a second slower. Shawnee Miller Weibo, the Olympic champion over 400 meters, such a talented 200 meters as well, and the Olympic champion at 100 and 200 meters. Elaine Thompson just about back to her best, running 22 seconds flat in Kingston, Jamaica back in June. Dina Asher-Smith looked supreme at the British Championships at the weekend. Her run in the semi-final of the 100 meters, it was into a headwind of 2 meters per second. It was worth about 10.8. She's fast at the moment. Daphne Skippers will be the defending world champion in Doha. in this event, the 200 meters. The Dutch athlete, been consistent this year, still looking for the big performance. Well, Crystal Emanuel, believe it or not, is ranked 46th in the world on times this year, but she has put in good performances in the Diamond League, and the points tally means she's here in lane 2. And Jamil Samuel as well, one of the top European sprinters, finished second to skippers in the Dutch Championships last week over 100. So Dina Asher-Smith, the European champion, Elaine Thompson, the Olympic champion, Shawnee Miller-Weibo, also Olympic champion at 400 meters, Kambunji, skippers, Okagbare, surely the best 200-meter lineup we've seen all season. Hop, that's for Kambunji. Slight breeze in their face in the home straight. Asher-Smith quickly away. So is Miller-Weibo already up on Kambunji. Elaine Thompson with some work to do. It's Dina Asher-Smith and Okagbare and Miller-Weibo as they come into the home straight. Not much to choose between them. Dina Asher-Smith with half a meter over Miller-Weibo. And the 400-meter runner starting to stretch away already. And Shawnee Miller-Weibo is moving away from this great field. Shawnee Miller-Weibo 21.74. Asher-Smith in second. Well, there are a few people who have run faster, probably 10 or 11. I'll work out exactly on the world all-time list where that sits for Miller-Weibo. But a stunning run, and she won't run this race in the World Championships. Dina Asher-Smith will, so she'll be delighted with the season best in second and beating the Olympic champion Thompson. But it was only ever between those two, Tim. Round the bend, we expect Asher-Smith always to have a bit of advantage, but how good is Miller-Weibo in those last 50 meters? Of course, she's got 400-meter strength, but that was startling.
Steve, do you remember Juan Torina against Walhuter? And they used to say a good big man will always beat a good small man. And of course, Miller-Weibo towers over Asher-Smith. The Bahamian's long legs really unfolding with about 80 meters to go. Dina led again around the bend. She starts fabulously. She really does. She runs the best 120, 130 of all of them. But it's just that Miller-Weibo has that 400-meter runner's strength. It's like Marie-José Perret when she took her Olympic double at 400 and 200. In the last 50, it becomes a 400-meter runner's race. And look at the way she streaks away there to win very comfortably indeed. And Dina in second place, equally isolated. You're right, it's a fabulous run for Dina, just outside 22 seconds to defeat the Olympic champion. But, gosh, Miller-Weibo absent from this event in Doha. That doesn't feel good.
Well, that ranks her 11th on the all-time list, which is a fantastic achievement. And many of those races were from a good few years ago, many of those times from a good few years ago. People like Griffith Joyner, Marion Jones, skippers, of course, more recently, Otti and Elaine Thompson in there, but she's up there with the best 200-meter runners ever. She already was that good. She's just got a bit better. Shawnee Miller-Weibo, I wonder how quick can she go over 400 meters by the time we get to Doha. And that's frightening, isn't it? To take that 200-meter speed into a 400-meter event. Miller-Weibo, 21.74.
Well, we can go to the men's pole vault now. Armando Duplantis cleared 5.73. Okay, he came in at 5.58, popped over that first time, and 5.73. Here he goes at 5.83. He is one of this astonishing trio of 6-meter vaulters this year, and that one no trouble at all for the young Swede. Brought up in the USA, but has opted to continue vaulting for Sweden. And of course, with Sam Kendricks vaulting 6.06 at the US Championships, that is now the US record. There was this ridiculous situation after Berlin last year where Duplantis won the European Championships for Sweden, that it was also a US record. So he's a US citizen. Now here is Kendricks, who is very much the US record holder on his own.
Slight disadvantage already. Kendricks having had 2 attempts at the previous height. First time this time. Back in the game. Well, they all get on so well, and You know, obviously when they're competing, the rivalry has to come to the fore. Of course it does. But look at that from Kendricks. Well, I don't know, 6'10" there, who knows? That was 5'83", and there was a good 20 centimeters at least there. And that's obviously, that makes it, sometimes at the lower heights it can look like that. But as I said, he's back in the game there. He stays second though because of the failure at 5'73".
Well, here is Cole Walsh, the new face on the international circuit this year. Second attempt for him at 5'83". He had a hiccup at 5'43", then the next two heights, first time. This for Walsh, good. Very good indeed. Well, the 24-year-old has developed relatively late. And that's a personal best for Walsh, improving on his 5'81" from Oslo back in the middle of June. He restricts the celebration, of course, because he knows he's going to have to do a great deal more against a fabulously strong field.
Well, he's had some wonderful nights already this year. Lisek always smiling as well. Anything you can do? I'm not saying it's necessarily better, but look how much it means to him. He wants to be in the game here with Kendricks and with Duplantis. He's got to stay with them. Walsh has joined the party here as well. We were hoping this men's pole vault would be a good one tonight. So far, so good. Lisek clear at 5'83".
It's building really nicely, those vaults all over the last few minutes, but for Renaud Lavillenie, the search for the form of old continues. Lavillenie in trouble at 5'83", cleared 5'73" at the second time of asking. The confidence is gradually returning. He didn't come in until 5'58". That was a height later, for example, than Lisek, who has cleared 6'02" this year. It's the height later than everybody apart from Duplantis, who came in at this same height. But here, Renaud Lavillenie in real trouble, I'm afraid. And he just cannot find the consistency. The out-and-out world record holder, of course, with Renaud Lavillenie with 6'16". That, though, was a few years back. And at the age of 32, he's not exactly doing a Bubka, isn't he? Remember, Bubka went on year after year, world championship after world championship, well into his 30s, defeating all comers. Renaud Lavillenie has just lost his mojo. The Olympic champion back in 2012 still doesn't have an outdoor world title after so many attempts and so many minor medals. But in the form he's been showing in recent weeks, while there's been an improvement, he won't win in Doha. It would take an astonishing turnaround to take gold in Qatar. Well, we go back to the track now, and over on the far side, they're lined up for the women's 1,500 meters. 15 starters, and Genzebe Debaba. Well, she is the world record holder, of course, the Ethiopian. 5 times world indoor champion. Just one major outdoor title, that was the world title in 2015. And Sifan Hassan, the world record holder for the mile in Monaco, just a few weeks back, the world indoor champion in 2016. Set was a European record for 3,000 meters at the Prefontaine Classic back on the 30th of June. Many think that was unofficially a world record because everybody ahead of her is Chinese. And it was back in the dark days of the early 90s. Ailish McColgan in there for Great Britain. Been in good form, fresh from winning the UK 5,000 meters title comfortably last weekend. Sklabas of Switzerland, the 18-year-old. Well, her personal best is just 4:10. She may struggle in this company or be dragged to a huge personal best. The world record holder over 1,500 against the world record holder over the mile. Dibaba against Sifan Hassan of the Netherlands. She's only run 3 1500s this year, Hassan. We know she's fabulously strong. She's mixed up her racing this year. She ran a 10,000 meters back in early May in the USA in just outside 31 minutes. But Chanel Price, the pacemaker, who's a very good 800-meter runner herself, a 1:59 800-meter runner, has been asked to go out here in 62 seconds for the first 400, and then slower marginally to 2:05 for 800 meters, which sets it up, Steve, for something a long way under 4 minutes. And just as was the case in the steeplechase with Debu Stafford there back in, what, 4th place. It's very quick early on.
Well, they just got to be sensible. Dibaba wants a fast pace. Hassan knows that. She always starts a little slow the first 200, but it's good to see Hassan get involved. Klosterhalfen in the form of her life. Sigai won't be too far away. And then the others will be hoping they can get dragged round. No Laura Muir, of course, a Diamond League champion from last year. Injury keeping her away as she tries to get ready for Doha. So sub 3:55 perhaps, that's what Dibaba's looking for, I think, Tim. And 61.6 for the pacemaker. That's pretty perfect. Dibaba herself right on 62.
Yeah, Chanel Price, very reliable, very experienced. She will try to go to 800 meters. Hassan, they were slotted in front of Klosterhalfen, who herself has been in fabulous form with that 8:20 3,000 second at Prefontaine behind Hassan, and then she won the German 5,000 meters title a couple of weeks back, a solo 14:26. Her strength is not in doubt. She won the Birmingham Mile a couple of weeks ago, the Diamond League in Birmingham, in 4:21. So, Chanel Price from Dibaba. And then Segai has slotted in there into 3rd place. Segai, Gurav Segai, the World Indoor Championship bronze medalist 3 years back. She's fast and strong. She ran an 800 personal best in Paris, going under 2 minutes as Chanel Price eases to one side. 700 meters, enough for her. Now, will Dibaba here push on this 3rd lap? Because she must fear, surely, the finish of 2 or 3 of those behind her. That first lap, Steve, 61.6 you said was perfect. This one, 66.
And this is the crucial part of the race. Dibaba is slowing down. Look, she's not interested in going quick. They're almost stepping over her, falling over her. Sigai looking around because suddenly the whole field is bunched up. Interesting tactics for Dibaba. We don't even know, Tim, if she's going to run the 1500 at the World Championships or not. So maybe this is a tryout. Maybe this is a bit of a test for, right, I'm not just going to go flat out. I'm going to see if over the last 400-500 meters, I can run away from Klosterhalfen and Hassan, who may well be in the 5,000 meters. But look at Jenny Simpson moving closer. Sigai's in there as well. Debu Stafford, they can all finish quick.
13 athletes then in the group. It's bunched dramatically over the last 300 meters. They approach the bell. Dibaba leads from Segai. Klosterhalfen in 3rd. Hassan in 4th. Debu Stafford in 5th. They go through in almost exactly 3 minutes there. Now it opens up again. Dibaba seemingly toying with this field, but will she win here in Zürich 2019? The acceleration of this last 100 meters has been vicious. Jenny Simpson struggling to go with it. She's lost 5, 6, 7 meters on this pack as Dibaba now tests their raw speed. And look at Hassan. Glides up onto the shoulder of Dibaba, eases past her, leads through 200 meters to run. It's Hassan, Dibaba, Klosterhalfen. Fabulous running here from Debu Stafford, who is looking strong in 4th place. Segai is spent back in 5th place. The field streaming past her as Hassan eases away from Dibaba, who looks so mortal here. That first lap was such a waste, 61.6, followed by a 66. Hassan has cashed in here and destroyed this field over the last 400. Look at that time, 3:57.08. 57.7 the second lap, the final lap. Klosterhalfen a brilliant 2nd. Debu Stafford 3rd, taking some big scalps. What a strange 1,500 meters here in Zurich 2019. And once again, Dibaba and the request for these very fast times, Steve, disrupting what we expect as a normal 1,500. That's not a bad thing.
No, Tim, she's limping. I think the answer to that is she was limping all the way around that last lap. She's injured. So that's why we haven't, we're now getting some answers. The reason we haven't seen Dibaba for a while, she's obviously been carrying a problem. Come here to test it out. She's in trouble now. And Dibaba was limping down. There she is, walking away. Now, whether it's a really bad recurrence of an injury we don't know about, don't know. But that wasn't Dibaba. And certainly the last 100 meters, she was running on one leg. Doesn't matter to Hassan. She attacked hard. Smart race. Klosterhalfen as well. The two of them, of course, and as you said, so used to training with each other these days. National record for the Canadian. She's had a wonderful year. But look at Dibaba coming in here. She's not running properly at all. And then when she crosses the line, well, you didn't see it on that replay. So question marks remain over Dibaba. Hassan, has she chosen the right event for the World Championships? She's going in the 5,000 meters. There's a little bit of pushing and shoving, nothing too silly there. It's because this is where Dibaba had slowed so much. Maybe, Tim, first lap 6.2, then she felt something. Slowed right down, I don't know. Maybe tried to go again, and then got into trouble when she stretched again.
I don't know, Steve. We so often see Dibaba toying with fields like this, running strange laps. I don't think we should take anything away from that fabulous win from Hassan. I suspect she'd have given Dibaba, injured or not, a fabulous race tonight. 57 last lap for a 3:57 winning time. That is special. Laura Muir capable of something like that prior to her injury over these recent weeks. But Klosterhalfen taking second place there in 3:59, a season's best for her. Debut Stafford, a Canadian national record, another one. 3:59.59 in third place. Absolutely fabulous. And for those who sat back off that very fast early pace, again, it's worked out pretty well. Hints of brazier in the 800 meters there for several of the athletes who have run quick times in that women's 1500.
Crunch time in the pole vault. All struggling at 5.93. Kendricks, first to have a go at his third attempt. Fails this, and he's out. Others struggling though. 5.93. Oh, he's got it! Sam Kendricks gets it. Oh, look at this. It's as though he's cleared 6 meters. That's just like a lap of honor. Sam Kendricks goes clear at 5.93, with the others having had 2 failures. Well, look how much this means to him. It is the Diamond League title, but it's with Duplantis and Lisek in the field. This is his chance to get a huge psychological advantage. So Kendricks clear, the only one clear at 5.93. You'd think he'd won the World Championships again.
Well, he does vault this beautifully, doesn't he? And Sam competes so much. He said to me at lunch, what are you going to find to say to me about today? And I said, look, you compete so often, it's hard to find any fresh words. It is poetry in motion. Absolutely beautiful. Well clear of that one. Third attempt at 5.93. I can confirm for you that he has initially passed at 6 meters and then has decided to call it a day and keep his powder dry. He has retired from the competition, having won with consummate ease, I would like to say. It's not really consummate ease, but by a clear height here against Duplantis and Lisek and Walsh and Renaud Lavillenie down in 5th place, sharing that with Chris Nielsen of the USA and Pavel Wojciechowski.
Well, he's got the win. American flag draped over his shoulders. 5.93, the winning height tonight. Duplantis having to settle the second. Walsh with a new personal best, equal third with Lisek. Thiago Braz further down. And now we move back onto the track. It's been a great night so far, hasn't it? Actually, well, let's pop over the long jump first.
Well, Tentoglu, the European champion last year from Greece. He's only 21 years old now. 8.32, his season's best in Gävle in Sweden, back at in the early days of July. He took the European Under-23 title. But Tentoglu there in the first round, going out to 8.10. Good on the board. Won the Greek national title recently with 8.22. He won the European Team Championships with 8.30 in Bydgoszcz. That was his last competition. That's a very solid opener indeed from the Greek.
Now this is Echevarria. First round still, the Cuban. Well, at his best, he is the best, isn't he? Beautiful action on the runway. Oh, that's a great start. Wow, it might be the first round, but that is a great start to the competition. Echevarria has been a little bit in and out this year by his very high standards, but this is certainly in. Right on the board. Couldn't be better. 1 centimetre from the plasticine. He's got such a beautiful action, gets such good height. And there's the reach. Well, with Manyonga here, we've just seen Tentoglu. He knows he's going to have to be good, and of course 1 or 2 others who've jumped well earlier in the season. But 8.65, that's the best in the world this year.
Well, Luva Manyonga last to jump of the 8 men in his first round. The Rio Olympic silver medalist has the gauntlet thrown down there by the Cuban Manyonga in the first round. Solid, but not solid enough. That's way beyond 8 meters. But Manyonga, he jumped in smallish meetings since the London Diamond League, where he's won in Cork, and then he won in Ireland, and then he won in Brussels with 8.13. That one coming down for Manyonga at 8.19, but that's a Diamond League record by Echevarria. Meeting record, everything. He's got the lot with that first round jump, Stephen. Really thrown the gauntlet down to the rest of these guys in round 1.
And into the wind. Not much of it, but no help from the breeze. Women's 400-meter hurdles next on the track. On the outside in lane 8, Geneve Russell of Jamaica, Commonwealth champion. Leah Sprunger will get a huge cheer, the European champion from last year. She's not running quite as well as she was last season, with signs that season is improving as it goes along. Same for Heinova, former world champion, 2-time former world champion indeed, 2015, 2013. 54-1 in Lausanne. Need to really be in the 53s if you're going to challenge for a medal in this event this year, because, well, particularly the Americans are so strong, including Ashley Spencer, finished 3rd in their trials, behind a world record performance from Dalila Muhammad on a wet track. But she'll tell you that when she won the gold medal in Rio, it was a wet evening as well. She likes it raining when she's racing. Sydney McLaughlin could only watch Muhammad go away from her in the home straight. She's still such a talent, the 20-year-old, though. Nobody's been as quick as her at that age. Shamir Little had to settle for 4th place. And of course, let's not forget the Americans got Corey Carter to go. And no nation can take more than 4 athletes. So you can't take either the reigning world champion or the Diamond League champion. You'd have Corey Carter not been in great form this year, so that's going to be interesting. Rychkova on the inside. So the world record holder, Dalila Muhammad, I was reading some of her training. She trains like an 800-meter runner in the winter, 12 times 400 mile reps, 800-meter reps. She's got so much endurance and speed, of course. Great combination for the 400-meter hurdles. So Muhammad in lane 4, the world record holder, the Olympic champion, against Sydney McLaughlin and Ashley Spencer. So this crowd are very knowledgeable, and they know they could see something really special here, depending on, I guess, conditions and how McLaughlin feels here. Muhammad and McLaughlin feel here. So Muhammad has started pretty quickly, just settling down now. Spencer realizes the world record holder has gone up very fast indeed. McLaughlin's gone quick to try and go with her. And Muhammad really has been attacking the first 300 in her races, but then getting stronger as they go away. But it's McLaughlin who's leading, but look at Sprunger. Sprunger has gone out incredibly fast. Surely she's going to pay for that as McLaughlin and Muhammad come together. It's McLaughlin rising first into the home straight. Shamir Little getting amongst it here, but it's McLaughlin, the youngster, moving away from Muhammad. This could be a big shock here, and she continues to go away off the last barrier. It's the 20-year-old Sydney McLaughlin looking at the clock, 52.86. Little took 2nd from Muhammad. Well, there's the first big shock of the night, not because this woman isn't superbly talented, hasn't got a massive future ahead of her, and will only get quicker, and who knows, herself one day may run the world record. But look at the shock on her face. She knew that Muhammad is in the shape of her life, but for whatever reason tonight, Dalila Muhammad, she started quickly, Tim, seemed to slow down the back straight, and then trying to get going again, but by that time McLaughlin had the momentum and was going away.
Well, it was very strange the way Muhammad ran. She blasted the first 100, settled down, I think over-settled through the second 100. McLaughlin was accelerating at that point, eased past her going into the second bend, and then was never headed, and had that advantage being drawn on the lane inside her. Lane 3 still a good draw. Great finishing here from Shamir Little. We mustn't discount her. She's consistent. She's running so well, really fast in Lausanne earlier on in the summer with a big win. But she defeats the world record holder here, the US champion, Mohammed, shunted back into third place. But Sydney McLaughlin, whose confidence needed that, I suspect, takes the win. Sizable prize money. And it leaves things, Steve, beautifully poised for the World Championships.
It does, you know, because people have been really looking forward to this season, particularly these two. And when Mohammed set that world record, everyone thought, right, game on here, because I think a lot of people were thinking McLaughlin would step up this year and maybe become the world #1. But Mohammed, stunning performance, and has been very good all season. But this was probably one of our worst races, if not the worst race of the season. Not quite sure why. As I said, may have just misjudged it, I don't know. This is the sort of place where just go for it, you know, as she did in the American Championships. But McLaughlin, beautifully judged, and was strong, really strong over the last two flights. Off that last barrier, knew, I think, that, right, I've got this here, and is looking up at the screen and at the clock. Well, actually, she's looking at the screen more than anything else, and then eventually starts to look at the clock. I'm not sure she could believe that something hadn't happened to Mohammed, because she would have expected her to be right there, but she wasn't. Leah Sprunger getting some pictures, but there you go. 52.85, a season's best for McLaughlin. What a good time to do it in the Diamond League final, and Little with an excellent run in second place.
Well, back to this men's long jump competition, and it is Gale now. Well, that's way beyond 8 meters for Tajay Gale. Opened with 8.03, then a no jump in the second round. Great height. Fabulous, that one. Leg shoot wasn't the best. There's certainly more to come from Tajay Gale. He jumped 8.32 to set a personal best in London, where he finished in second place. What's a month or so ago. But that's from Gale, 8.16.
There on the far side, the men's long jump. As I said, just into this slight breeze. The men's javelin going in the opposite direction. We'll be catching up with the men's javelin shortly, but this is Samai. And when you think in the long jump, you know, rather surprisingly, the two world leads before tonight, Visser of South Africa and Shirayama from Japan. Shirayama jumped in 8.40 and has only once ever been over 8 meters before, just over 8 meters. A stunning improvement from him just last week. So Samai, the South Africans with such strength and depth in this event. Visser, Samai, Manyonga, all here tonight. So Samai started with 8.4 and 8.5. He's very quick, Samai. That's again right on the 8 meter mark, probably a little bit less on that occasion. Very quick, doesn't always transfer it into the distance he wants. Maybe checking a little bit before the board. Yeah, you can see there, he was just trying to kind of get his stride right, and didn't manage to do so. Way off, way behind the board, knew it. So 7.95 nonetheless. Stays in 6th place. Round 2.
Well, Echevarria next to go. Now, he's passed his second round effort, Echevarria. I think he realizes that first round jump. Remember, 8 meters 65, by far the longest jump in the world this year. A meeting record, and that is quite something. When you come to Zurich, a meeting that has goes back decades of greatness. They used to call this the one-night Olympics. Setting a meeting record is extra special. Echevarria then, fresh from that 8.65 in the first round. Can he go further? Oh, no, that looked like a no jump to me. Long stride, he's got really accentuated knee lift. He's only 21. Surely his best years are a long way ahead of him. That 8.65, by the way, his opener was only 3 centimeters off his lifetime best from last year. Still jumping into a very slight headwind. And he may have done enough. Who knows? It's certainly a target for the rest of them. A realistic target for how many of them? Maybe only Manyonga, Tentoglu perhaps, but it would take a big personal best from the Greek. Actually, just checking, Steve, 8.65 is Manyonga's personal best.
Well, you never know. Good time to do it. Now the atmosphere really building here in the Lettergrund. Actually got a little quieter in the sense that there's only the javelin and the long jump left. Men's pole vault already concluded. So Manyongo round 3, Echevarria leading with 8.65. He's stretching for it for me. You know, it's not the fluid Manyonga which we've seen in the past. I mean, he's still jumping well. He's still jumping very well. But look at that, little, very ragged for Manyonga. Well, that couldn't be better, could it? But then after takeoff, just watch this. You know, you can see the effort. The effort. He just wants the big jumps and not coming at the minute, even though 8.19, 18, many long jumpers would be happy with that.
Well, the action will continue on that long jump. That's only the end of the third round. We're coming to 3 rounds to come, but on the track, it's time for the men's 100 meters. And the big names heading out any second from the lead area, as they call it. We were told that today, and we went, what? And of course, they meant the LED screens. So it's the lead screens from now on. I hope they're not that heavy. Well, Adam Jamili will be the first out, fresh from winning that UK 200-meter title last week in 20.08 into a headwind. He was second in the 100 as well. He's in wonderful form. He's the member of the British 4x100 World Championship squad. Johan Blake, well, he holds the meeting record. Blake from 2012, 9.76, the Jamaican. He will go in lane 2, winner in Birmingham 12 days ago. Justin Gatlin, the reigning world champion, didn't run the US Championship 100 final. He has a bye, of course, to Doha. Controversial figure, 9.74, his best 4 years ago. There is Noah Lyles, the man of the moment, the world #1 at 200 meters, the world #2 at 100. Full of energy, so charismatic, really enjoys it and translates that to the crowds. He won in Paris last Saturday, 19.65 for 200. Akani Simbine, the Commonwealth champion from South Africa, only 7th in Birmingham 11 days ago, in fact. Won the London in his Diamond League in his season's best of 9.93. Zarnell Hughes of Great Britain, the reigning European champion, 3rd in the UK 100, 2nd in the 200 last week. He goes in 6th. Alex Wilson, the local man, gets the biggest cheer of all, of course. European Championship bronze medalist last year, over 200 meters. Holds that Swiss national record. His best, though, 10.08. Earlier on this summer is his lifetime best. Mike Rogers, well, the most experienced in this field after Gatlin, 34 years old now, winner of the Pan Am Games a couple of weeks back, 2nd in the US Championships. He will be in Doha for the USA, 9.97 this year. And then Jie Zhenye of China, who was only 8th in Birmingham in 10.17, 11 days ago in the Diamond League there. But that's the field, this men's 100 meters. Fastest time in the world this year, 9.81 by Christian Coleman. Coleman, of course, accused of missing 3 whereabouts tests in this last year, just in the last week or so, and is unable to race. He disputes this, so the case is under review and will be judged in the next week. But for the moment, the world #1 is absent. And the big question mark is, will he be cleared in time to run in Doha? So these are the main men. If Coleman does not race in Doha, Gatlin has been done a huge favour in his efforts to retain his title. Lyles, of course, only running the 200 metres at the World Championships, but in fabulous form when he ran that 19.50 to win in Lausanne a couple of months back, over 200 metres. I think it made him the 4th fastest man in history over the half lap. But this is a strong field, despite Coleman's absence. Jamili in 1, Blake in 2. Justin Gatlin goes in 3, the reigning world champion, 37 years old now. Oldest in the field by 3 years, ahead of Rogers, who himself is 34. Everybody else quite some way under 30. Gatlin in 3, then Lyles in 4, Simbine 5, Zarnell Hughes, the European champion, in 6, Wilson 7, Rogers 8, G in 9. But Gatlin in 3, Lyles in 4. Great start from Gatlin, snatches half a metre off Lyles, who's coming through now. Lyles working hard to get back to Gatlin, but is he going to get there? Yes, he is. That strength brings him through. Great running on the near side too from G to take second place, 9.98. Well, there was a moment there where Lyles closed on Gatlin after about 50. Then Gatlin pulled away again. I thought it was going to stay clear. And then Lyles' 200-metre strength kicked in at around 75. And he eased past the world champion and took the scalp, and an important scalp too, Steve. And I just cannot see him being challenged by anybody over 200 in Doha. What a shame he's chosen not to double up in Qatar. Brilliant running there from the Chinese, Xi Zhenye, who is a sub-10-second man. We mustn't forget that. Ran 10.01 earlier on this year, 10.04 for second place there. Good running from Blake, 10.07. And Gatlin easing back to fourth place, 10.08.
Careful. his socks tonight, an homage to, I think, Kill Bill movies. He's a fan of martial art movies, isn't he? But the win for him tonight, the most important thing, and even the time less important, as you said, Tim. He's not running the two of them. I'm trying to work this race out here, because Gatlin, to me, until 70 metres, kind of looked like he had it, and then I'm not sure the Lyles just maintained and Gatlin came back to the field. That's what it looked like, really, because you'd expect Lyles to be ahead of the rest of the people. Just watch here, good start. Lyles, you'd think, okay, he's going to come on, but he's not making many inroads here. And then all of a sudden, Gatlin runs out of gas. And Lyles comes through, Shear comes through, everyone just kind of maintains through. Gatlin almost gets run down by 3 or 4 others. But it's the 200, we know he's going to be so good. A 9.98 isn't startling by the standards of these guys. It is a very, very slight headwind, not too much at all, worth a couple of hundreds or a few hundreds. But, what a win for him. If you go to a championships and I'm not in my main event, I know I'm good, but actually I can win in the shorter distance as well. A little like Miller Weibo, same sort of thing. He's going to carry this into the 200 meters in a way which will frighten everybody else, undoubtedly. But good win. Question marks for Gatlin, I guess. Not quite sure what happened there. He just didn't finish the race in the way which he has been in earlier races this season.
No, you're dead right. I mean, Lyles, with that 1950 in Lausanne, can probably go quicker. His 100-meter form is holding really well. Don't let's forget that he beat Coleman in Shanghai right at the beginning of the summer. He's taking all the scalps at 100, his second event, and he so enjoys himself. Last week I started to ask him if he might think about running a 400, and he screamed no before I finished the question, because he holds that world indoor best for 300 meters, and it is his strength, just like Miller Weibo, as he pointed out, in the latter stages, that is so critical.
Krukowski in the men's javelin. Fairly early stages. Well, that's a good way to start. So many big names in this javelin, particularly the Germans. The return of Vetter. Roller is here. We've also got Hoffman, not to mention the very, very good Magnus Kurt, top the world rankings, and Cheng from Taipei. But through it all, Krukowski setting his stall out very early on. Season's best for him, 85.72, an early lead in round 1.
Well, Cheng Xiaosun, also in good form. He's thrown 87 meters this year. That was in Birmingham just 11 days ago, and his opener superb as well. Indeed, so superb. It's a season's best by well over a meter. That opener from him coming down at 89.05, and when you start brushing the 90-meter line, you're in very, very serious territory. Only one athlete has gone over 90 meters this year, and that is Magnus Kurt, who is second in the throwing order. Cheng there is 6th in the throwing order in this first round. So that really gives the rest of them a big, big target early on, just like Echevarria in that long jump.
Well, here is Magnus Kurt. 77.54, bit of a sighter if you like, in first round. Oh, he's let that one go. Well, that's a big improvement. Might not trouble the top two, but it's right on the 85-meter line. The Estonian. Pretty quick approach here, fast arm through, throwing himself after the javelin. Just beyond 85 meters. Nothing too much from the Germans yet. Let's not forget, Germany will have 4 men contesting the javelin at the World Championships. So Magnus Kurt moves into 3rd place with 85 meters 26. It's on the far side of the track, the men's 5,000 meters. Always a highlight here. Seleman Barega, Ethiopia with a multitude of talent in all distance races, but particularly in this one at the moment. Barega and Kajelcha, US-based Ethiopian now, of course, and he will have enjoyed watching Sifan Hassan win the 1500 earlier on. The two of them in the same training group. Paul Chilimo, the American. Actually, Kajelcha and Chilimo were in that great race with Mo Farah here 2 years ago, when either of those two thought they might win. Gebriwet, watch out for him. They're just going past him, not quite sure why, because he might even be the pre-race favourite. Henrik Ingebrigtsen. What about Joshua Cheptegei, in great form this year? Surely he's got a great chance going to the World Championships. Andy Butchart, personal best 13:06, the Brit. And then what about McSwain? Stuart McSwain, the Australian, in the form of his life across the gamut of distances from 1500 up to 5,000 meters. So Barega, world indoor silver medalist, he's still only 19, hard to believe, isn't it? Seems to have been around ages. Kajelcha himself, only 22, 12.5 laps of the track, and they haven't asked for anything too silly, which I think is good. Not all of these men here will contest the 5,000 meters at the World Championships by any stretch of the imagination, but for tonight, it's the Diamond League trophy that counts, and a bit of pride and a bit of confidence building, certainly. So they'll settle down. Ryan Gregson, not often you see him, the Australian, doing a bit of pacemaking. 1500-meter specialist, of course. Let's see how he gets on. The field already nicely strung out. And, well, I think, you know, if they can, Tim, if they can, you know, keep it within 13-minute range, and then maybe something good over the last couple of 1,000 meters, maybe the last 1,000 meters, then we could see something fast. But how many cat and mouse races have we seen this year and in other years?
Well, exactly right, but the pace, as you mentioned correctly, Steve, has been requested as is a sensible one. 2:35 for the first kilometres, 2:55 tempo. It's quick, but not insanely fast. And it's quick enough to reduce it single file. That is a perfect echelon, isn't it, of runners. They're stretched out behind Gregson. But 6 men in this field have broken 13 minutes. I'm sure that is the target here tonight. I shall be very interested to see how Andy Butchart goes here, the Briton back in about 7th place, who reckons he's in sub-13-minute shape, I understand. Ben True there in about 6th place in the light blue, the American. I had a chat with him at lunchtime. He said he's spent 6 weeks injured middle of the summer, so he doesn't think he's in wonderful shape. He's had long Achilles problems. Let's see how long he can stay with this pace. Well, we can go back to this men's long jump with a lap and a half or so in the tank. Echevarria still leading with 8:65 in this men's long jump competition. Gale here, 8:03 with his opener, then a no jump. He cleared 8:16 with his 3rd round effort. And Gale coming down there. Had 8:20 in round 4, into a very slight headwind. Ooh, giving away, what, 3 or 4 centimetres there on the board. Good height again from Gale. Conditions cannot be bad out there. Echevarria, by the way, minus 0.5 on that 8:65 jump as his. But Gale there easing into 2nd place, past Manyonga by just 1 centimetre with his 4th round effort.
Well, in the men's 5,000 meters, Ryan Gregson just got 10 out of 10. Spot on 2:35 for the first 1,000 meters. He hasn't done this before, but you wouldn't think so, and he's keeping going. He's going to try and get to 5 laps at a similar pace. Ben True, Andy Butchart tucked in there. Cheptegei got up there very early on. There he is in the all-dark strip behind him, Mburu. And kind of new name this year, Stanley Waitaka Mburu. Paul Chilimo very close as well. Interestingly though, Barega and Balu and Bekele and Kejelcha much further back have sat off the pace here, and not even in those top 10 places. Look at them right at the back. Barega is actually last behind Ingebrigtsen, and Gebriwet is just ahead of him, and Kejelcha is just ahead of him. So interesting tactics from the top Ethiopians, but Gregson keeping the pace going at the front.
Julian Wanders there, the European record holder at the half marathon from last February. And Markus Riffel there, and Thomas Wessinghager with the silver locks watching. Great Swiss and German stars of years gone by, Steve. But I know that Wanders had a chat with him at lunchtime. He said he's hoping to run a personal best and maybe even threaten Markus Riffel's Swiss record of 13:07. And certainly Stewie McSwain, I think, feels he can go down below 13 minutes. He ran really well in Paris, remember, 3:31 for 1500 last Saturday. That's useful speed to bring into 5,000.
I think the danger for, Kejelcha, Gebriwet and Barega is Cheptegei, because Cheptegei is reputedly in really, really good shape, and he's going with a pace here, and it's getting stretched out, and Cheptegei at the minute is about 15 meters or more ahead of that group of Ethiopians. So the Ugandan, he probably doesn't know that, because he probably thinks they're all lined up behind him. Chilimo's just moving up behind him, and others are happy to sit in the train. But if Cheptegei were to really go off the front once the pacemaking starts to drop, although it is starting to slow a little bit, and maybe the others have just been a little wiser.
Round 5 for Ruswell Samai then. World Championship bronze medalist, the South African. Oh, and that's better. Now, he opened with 8:04, then an 8:05. Hasn't got near 8 meters with his third and fourth round efforts, but that's way beyond 8 meters. It's untidy though, wasn't it? Pretty good on the board, just gives away a tiny bit of ground on takeoff. His last couple of competitions, 8:18 in Luzerne and then 8:11 at the London Diamond League for third place. Gives away 3 centimeters, and he comes down there somehow at 8:20. Exactly the same distance as Gale's best, but on countback, Gale stays in second. Samai now in third.
Gregson's job is done. He did slow a little bit, so 2:38 for the second 1,000 meters, but still decent pace. Tiernan, his Australian counterpart, has taken it on. Cheptegei still leading, and the big three at the back of that group there, they've moved ahead of Ingebrigtsen because the gaps were appearing. So Gebriwet, Kejelcha and Barega happy to just watch, happy to sit off this. There's Kejelcha, Gebriwet right behind him, Barega behind him. And it's Cheptegei, who of the big names, who's more interested in the pace here. And what's happened here is Tiernan's just picked it up a little notch after Gregson dropped out, doing a good job here. So the pace still right on that 13-minute mark, thereabouts, and there's the gap for the first time. There's a gap between Cheptegei and the rest of the field. It'd be really interesting to see whether it's a long way out, obviously, at this point, but as they come round this time with 6 to go, Tim, just a bit of a gap. Long jump.
Well, round 5 for Gale. He's in second place still, but only on count back. Nowhere near Echevarria, who's way out there with that open of 8:65. No improvement, I think, for Gale there. 8:20 in round 4. Same distance Samai cleared. Just a jumpy go. But that from Gale. No. 8:07. No improvement. And Echevarria's jump way out there is beginning to look more and more outstanding in the conditions. It was a minus 0.5 wind. Nobody's had a tailwind. They've all been very slight headwinds. What a special effort that was. Manyonga, 8:19, his opener, remains his best. He's still down in 4th place. Well, here he goes, Manyonga, his 5th round effort. He's been consistent, but just nowhere near the level of Echevarria's opener. And Echevarria, after 4 rounds, by the way, well, he's passed 2. He had a no jump in round 3, and his opener, his only valid jump. Here's Manyonga. Well, his series has been 8:19, then a no jump, then 8:18 and 8:15. So really consistent. But I'm afraid he's, well, best part of half a meter down on the Cuban Juan Miguel Echevarria. Manyonga, a no jump in round 5. And that does indeed conclude round 5 as Echevarria passes on this effort. Well, has he killed the competition stone dead, Echevarria?
Well, the pacemaker has dropped out. Tiernan got to 3,000 metres in 7:51, another 2:38. Again, just started slow. And Cheptegei, as I suspected, left out in front. Kejelcha, Barega, Gebriwet, a long way back. The chasing pack now, after Chilimo was labouring and continues to labour. Bekele took it on. Now Kejelcha, for the first time, gets interested because he can see with 4 laps to go, there's a 10-metre gap between Cheptegei and the others. Barega follows, Gebriwet follows. What an interesting race here from these three. Interesting tactics. Now they're starting to wind it up, but they're a good 20-25 metres behind Cheptegei, the world cross-country champion, who's in good form, but is he hanging himself out there to be chased down by the big names? But they've got a bit of work to do.
Well, I love to see this, Steve. I mean, I'm a cross-country man to go back to my roots, and he's a tough competitor, and I'm kind of hoping they've misjudged it here because he's running really strongly. He's got that lead, and they're all watching each other here, the big names, the established, more established 5,000-metre runners. But, you know, we mustn't underestimate Cheptegei. Have they underestimated him? He is a 12:59 performer. He ran 13:03 in Lausanne. That's what, 25 metres, maybe a bit more, that gap. Kejelcha doesn't look like the man to lead the chase for me.
No, not Kejelcha, but maybe they're taking turns. Barega picked it up, but they realised Cheptegei's stolen a march. I said it was a danger about 5 laps ago, because if you sit that far back, you can't see what's going on, and he was drawn away by the pacemaker. The gaps appeared, so they've got to work ever so hard. And you're right, one of them's got to sacrifice themselves to get the group back to Cheptegei, because with every 100 metre that passes, he gets closer to the finish, quite obviously. And the gap at the moment, Tim, is not closing. They could close that with a massive last 500-600 metres, but they've got to start pretty soon.
Well, the middle pace of this race was strange. I mean, it was slow. The opening kilometre, 2:35, was spot on. Look at that one, 2:35. So it's gone 2:35, 2:38, 2:37, 2:35. Cheptegei is maintaining that gap at 25 metres. He's able to watch up at the big screen occasionally if he wants, the gap behind him, but he's still running strong, and he's got just over 2 laps to run, and there doesn't seem to be an awareness in the group that they've got a very, very strong runner, and in fact, Steve, he's stretched it by another 6 or 8 metres over the last 200. He's kicking in, he's kicking away.
Kameli moves past the others because Kejelcha was looking around way too much. The others are faltering now, but that little group there, group of 6 actually. Now Barega moves to the front of it. Gebriwet hasn't had a turn yet. He hasn't even thought about it, but now we're into 650 metres left, and Cheptegei is moving nicely, looks relaxed, looks good. Of course the kick will come, but that's a big gap for them to close. A good 4 seconds, maybe even 5 seconds. Cheptegei continuing, if anything, to go away, and they've got to start moving. Barega finally trying to get things going. Kejelcha still in that group. They've dropped, which one have they dropped? And Buru, he's the only one who dropped off it.
I'm astonished. I mean, Cheptegei is strong and fast. He's run 8:07 for 2 miles this year. He's run 26:49 for 10,000 metres. He goes through now on 11:58. The pack are coming through now, 5 of them on 12:02, 12:03. They're 5 seconds back.
Yeah, 4.5 seconds by my reckoning, and Gebriwet is away. Barega follows, Kejelcha follows, and they will start to reel him in, but do they have time? Can Cheptegei hang on? They're moving quicker than he is. Kejelcha struggling there, but those long legs of his hanging on to Barega and Gebriwet, and they're closing fast. Cheptegei is still going well. It's 15 metres now, maybe 12 metres, and Barega with Gebriwet following. Gritted teeth, Kejelcha's got no chance. Cheptegei hurting. Can he raise his game? The crowd want him to win this. He will deserve it. Gebriwet chasing hard, but Cheptegei's found something else. He goes away again. Cheptegei hanging on for the victory. What a great run. It's going to be under 13 minutes. Cheptegei wins. Gebriwet second, and then a big sprint. Bekele just getting out-kicked by Kameli for the next place. Kejelcha completely out of it. Well, well done, Cheptegei. He deserved it. He committed himself. Silly games being played in the early laps by Kajelcha and Gebriwet and Barega, all looking at each other. Well, while they did that, Cheptegei got on with business, went on and won it in a new personal best. Stefan Hassan must be saying to Yomif Kajelcha, what were you doing there? What went on? Why did you let such a good runner get away in such a manner?
Wasn't that absolutely brilliant from the Ugandan? A personal best. He grabbed the bull by the horns and wrestled it into submission, that entire field. Stephen, here is the key. He might have been slowing on that final lap compared with the rest of them, but I got his last 1200 at 3:01. 3:01.4. He was not slow through the final laps. They never got back to him. They never really got back within that range where psychologically they felt he was catchable. Very nearly. Maybe another couple hundred meters they'd have got there. But Cheptegei judged it absolutely perfectly. His last lap, 59.41. I'm sure they're Gebriwet running his last lap in about 55, but oh, all too late.
Good run, though. Good race.
Oh, brilliant when you're being chased down like that.
And, you know, I just wonder what the tactics were there for the others. You know that the race is going to be running around about 13-minute pace, but to sit so far off, and yes, maybe it was, okay, let's test our speed in the last 1,000 meters as we head to a World Championships, but you want to come and win the race. You don't want to be caught out in that way. And Cheptegei is going to be in Doha, is going to be a massive threat. He's shown he can hang out there in front and win.
Didn't he enjoy it too?
Well, the Ugandan has he trains in Kenya as well. He obviously is in such good form, that new personal best. The hard way as well, he ran the last 4 or 5 laps completely on his own. Gebriwet got second, Kameli, Bikili, Barega, Kajelcha all racing for the minor placings. Gebriwet a little bit clear of the rest. Good race.
You have to have sympathy with the man who goes out in front and takes on the pace. Why do they let him build such a long lead? Why do they let him go? Back to this men's long jump. Samai now. 8:20 in round 5. This is 6th and final effort. No, it's very nearly as good as his best of the series. 8:17. He's still in second place. Tajay Gale will go next. The last athlete who can threaten Echevarria, but frankly, that's threatened in inverted commas because his lead with 8.65 meters over Samai and Gale's 8.20 is 45 centimeters. That's, what, about 18 inches, something like that?
45 centimeters. Yeah. Are you checking? Just counting. Still Gale with his final effort. It's been a good competition for him. I think any day you'd say you're third in this sort of field, he'd be very happy with. Wow, was that a no jump? If not, I mean, we've switched straight to Echevarria there. I was just looking across. Well, he has waited and watched the rest of the competition. No jump from Gale in the end, so no threat. So Echevarria with the last jump of the competition. So 8.65, just 3 centimeters short of his best right at the beginning of the competition. It's a Diamond League record. Of course, we've seen him jump further. Remember that jump in Stockholm where the wind was just over the legal mark. But Echevarria might just give us a resounding send-off here. It looks like he's enjoying himself, doesn't he? So Echevarria, final round, final jump of the competition. All to himself. Fast. Oh, he went for it there. A red flag goes up. It was a long jump, but a red flag. So he takes a bow, says thank you very much. That'll be good for me tonight. 8.65. Diamond League record, world lead, #1 in the world, the Cuban. Did it all in round one. Longest jump we've ever seen here in Zurich. And it was into a minus 0.5 breeze as well. Second place, Samai, South African, not the one we might expect. Manyonga, a bit of a disappointing evening for him, having to settle for 4th place. Again, his first round effort, the best he could do of 8:19. And it was Gale and Samai with the same distance in second place of 8:20. But Samai, with his next best jump, just 1 centimetre further than Gale's 8:17 to 8:16. So he gets the second place ahead of the Jamaican.
Well, we can catch up with the javelin now. Andreas Hoffmann of Germany. And what can Hoffmann do here? Opening with 82.67, and that's big from the German. Very big. A no throw in the second round, 82 again in the third round. But that from Hoffmann is out there way beyond 85 meters. Remember, he's chasing, though, the astonishing opener by Cheng Chao-sun of Taipei, 89.05, a season's best. Hoffmann is the world number 2 this year. He has thrown 89.65, and that one coming down at 87.49. Well, that moves him into second place, eases him past Kiert and Krukowski and Vetter. Certainly gains him quite a few places.
Well, what a night for Krukowski. 3rd place in such a good field. Season's best in round 1, now to no throw. Well, he hadn't improved since that first round. He's still 3rd, though. He's still ahead of the likes of Vetter and Roller. Magnus Kiert, as we move. One more throw in this round, and then just the 6th round to come. He'll take 3rd place all day long if it stays that way.
Cheng then, competition leader, round 5. I bet he cannot believe this. This surely will be the biggest victory of his career. All these scalps, although there is the 6th round to unfold yet, it's getting tantalizingly close. The Asian javelin champion this year took silver in the Continental Cup last year. Hits that one really hard. Very fast arm he's got, hasn't he? A huge pull. Doesn't get that one right. Angle of attack wrong. It's just over 79 meters. Well, I think he wanted to foul out, and they wouldn't let him. Is that what I saw just then? The official standing in front of him saying, no, look, they're measuring it now. Just, we'll go through with it. Yeah, 79.53, and he was all ready to step forward. He's thrown almost 10 meters better. Look at this. What do you think you're doing? But just the 6th and final round to unfold in this fabulously strong javelin field, with a surprise winner virtually on top of us. Well, one of the highlights of the Diamond League season so far has been the astonishing running of the world and European champion at 400-meter hurdles, Carsten Warholm. And he goes in this next discipline, the final individual men's track discipline. TJ Holmes will go in lane 9, 5th in the World Championships 2 years ago, 2nd in the US Championships. He was 5th in Paris last Saturday, still in reasonable form. He's run 48.5 this season. That was at the US Championships. And there is Warholm, unbeaten this year, the world number 1. 4 national records last year, 2 European records this year. 47.12 he ran in London some 5 weeks ago. The former decathlete from Norway, he's in lane 7. He likes that lane. Kyron McMaster, the Commonwealth champion from the British Virgin Islands, holds the national record for them. He was 3rd in Paris last Saturday after failing to finish run in London back in late July. He's only completed 4 races this season. Rai Benjamin, well, this is the real danger to Warholm. The 3rd fastest man equal in history. The world number 2 this year with 47.16 to win that Prefontaine Classic Diamond League meeting at the end of June. Fabulous flat speed, Benjamin. He's in 5. He has Mani Copello, World Championship silver medalist, behind Warholm 2 years ago in London, the Rio bronze medalist. The former Cuban runs for Turkey, and he's won in Birmingham, in Bursa, back in Turkey, and 4th in Paris in recent weeks. David Kenzera, goes in lane 3 for the USA. He was only 5th in the US Championships and 6th in Paris last week, but he's run 48.6 this season. That again was at the US Championships when so many athletes worked so hard to make the Doha team. They're just grateful to find any races after at those champs if they don't make the team. Karim Hussein, listen to that roar for the 2014 European champion from Switzerland. He raised the roof here when he won the European title in 2014 in this arena, and then he won the Diamond League in 2015 with a similar effect. He goes in 2, and Thomas Barr of Ireland, had a chat with him just I was munching on my lunch, and the European Championship bronze medalist last year. I said, lane 1 again, eh, Tom? And he said, yeah, I'm getting used to it now. He said, I'm just happy to have a lane. But he is strong, of course. The Rio Olympic 4th placer, Tom Barr. Don't discount him from a place in the top 4. But the clash here that so many have waited for in recent weeks is Rai Benjamin in lane 5 against Karsten Volham, the world champion, in lane 7. Benjamin with fabulous flat speed. He's run 19.99 for 200, 44.3 for 400 this year. Whereas Varholm, well, he's been improving his flat speed. Don't forget, he's European indoor 400-meter champion from Glasgow back in February. He's a fierce trainer, the former decathlete. He's had wins so far this year in Stockholm, Oslo, and Paris. And his European record in London, 47.12, tops the world rankings. For the first time in many years, the Americans have a major challenger. They're fairly rare in this discipline. So Barr of Ireland in 1, Hussein of Switzerland in 2, Kenzira USA 3, Copello goes in 4 for Turkey, then Rai Benjamin in 5, watch him in the headband, McMaster goes in 6, the Commonwealth champion from the British Virgin Islands, Varholm in 7, TJ Holmes in lane 8. Now, second from the top, Varholm loves to go very fast. He commits early. He's so strong. Holmes hit that first barrier hard. Varholm closing up on him already, left a picture. Benjamin looking very strong in the headband, nice and smooth. He's long and lean. Little stutter at that barrier from Benjamin was there, halfway down the back straight. As Varholm leads by a couple of strides there, left a picture. Benjamin beginning to close on him now. Good running between them from Curran McMaster, although he's losing ground now. But Benjamin has the advantage of having Varholm in his sights. The Norwegian is tremendously strong. Benjamin's still looking smooth. You feel he's got more to come. He eases up alongside Varholm. Will this be the first loss of the summer for the Norwegian, who works hard off the final barrier, stays clear, wins by half a metre. 46.92. It's a new meeting record. It's the second fastest time in history by Karsten Varholm. Of course, it's yet another European record for the Norwegian, and he was pushed every step of the way down that home straight by Rai Benjamin. Again and again, this man finds another gear, finds another layer of strength to put the icing on the cake and win these big races. Rai Benjamin, Steve, didn't put a foot wrong, but finished up losing by half a metre in 46.98, by far the fastest losing time in history.
Never have two men run under 47 seconds in the same race, because hardly anyone has ever run under 47 seconds. What a performance from Varholm. And you said he came off the last barrier, Tim. He actually attacked the last barrier and took the momentum into it, over it, and onto the line. That's what was startling, because as they came to that 10th flight, Benjamin was only half a metre behind, and he opened up another metre, well, maybe turned it into a metre, and Benjamin came back again, but not enough. I love this guy. I really do love this guy. Benjamin is good. He's very, very good. But what guts Varholm has. Stick me in lane 7. Come and chase me. I'll be in the lead in the home straight. I'll see you there. See what you can do. Well, here he comes. 2 to go. Here comes Benjamin with the momentum. And now watch this. Last flight. I'm off again. Tax it. Off it well. Benjamin keeps coming, but he's got enough. Head back. Arms flailing. Throws his right arm out to get his shoulder ahead. Didn't need to. He had the win, and he's got a sub 47 clocking We talk about letters after our name, don't we, in life? If you look on the computer now, Tim, there are more letters after his name: a PB, a DLR, an AR, an MR, and a WL. You can explain them all.
There's almost not room. Personal best, Diamond League record, area record, that means continental record, European record, meeting record, and world lead. Well, there's no surprise there. And I'll tell you what really emphasised for me in that replay, Steve, just now you were talking over how well these two ran, was as they came to the line, nobody else was in shot. The gap behind them was monstrous. I mean, third place, Karen McMaster, brilliant run for the Commonwealth champion, 48.58, but he's in a different race altogether. Karsten Warholm, 46.92, gets better and better. 4 weeks till those World Championships in Doha. Can he hold that form? Because if he can, he's going to retain that world title, and he is in utter shock there. He is such good news for the sport. He's full of charisma. He's always smiling. He and his coach like father and son. Wonderful shared sense of humour. He ticks every single box. He's a marketing man's dream, and that is the shot that will perhaps represent the best performance of the season, maybe up to and after Doha.
Well, Norway will be so proud of him. An area record, 46.92, 46.98. You know, it's startling. If you said to Benjamin, you know what, you can run 46.98 tonight, good, he didn't see, would he have taken that? Sadly, he got beat for him. This is Kurt in the javelin. We're into the last round of the men's javelin. The world leader coming into this. Oh, now what's he done here? Oh, it's a big one. He saved it to the end. Is it enough? The lead by Cheng since round one, 89.05. That is close. That is very close. Magnus Kurt of Estonia watching it all the way. He knew it was good when he released it. Right on that 90-meter line, or just below the 90-meter line, but near that lead of 89.05. And he's done it. It's come up as 89.13 right at the end. Takes the lead away from Cheng. Magnus Kurt in the javelin. What a finish. Can Cheng respond? I don't think he thinks that's good enough. Just didn't quite get the flight at all. He gave it his all, but a good night for him. He won there the last Diamond League in Birmingham. He's had to finish second tonight to the man who leads the world. What a great event. This is going to be the World Championships. Vetter on his way back. He threw 89 last week, down in 5th place tonight. Hoffman did pretty good in 3rd. Roller still out of sorts somewhat, but the Germans, you feel sure, will be right up there in amongst it come the World Championships. But with the likes of Magnus Kurt and Cheng in there, that is going to be a wonderful event. A little bit of disappointment for Cheng. You can feel for him a little bit. You go in the last round thinking, I think I've got this. But well done, Magnus Kurt. 89.13 the winning throw. 89.05 season's best for Cheng in 2nd, and Hoffman taking 3rd place ahead of Krukowski, who was in that place for much of the competition.
Well, it's a night in which you do need to cool off a little bit, isn't it, Steve? After races like that 400-meter hurdles, the next event on the track, the 4x100 meters Zürich Trophy for women.
Yeah, always the traditional finale here in Zurich. We've got a French team in lane 8. Zahi will lead them off. Not their top team, and probably with the exception of the Chinese, this is perhaps their best available team, and they have been very good this year. Close to their national record, 42.5 their best. Zhao Jing will lead them off. Jamaican team does contain Elaine Thompson. White and Smith are going. They both ran in a 100-meter race at the beginning of the evening. Smith beat White 11.25. Smith will be on the 3rd leg. Thompson put down the back straight. Then the Swiss team. Now this is their top team. Del Pont, Acho, Kambunji will go on the top end, and Cora to bring them home. And the Swiss team have really put themselves right up there in the world rankings. The Dutch, with Visser, very experienced team, skipper Samuel. Hunenstein, the new final leg runner, she ran earlier on in the warm-up race as well, as did a couple of the Germans. So their team, Kwai, Vadvo, Pinto and Lukkenkemper. Italians in lane 2. Dosso, lead runner for them. And then Finland on the inside. Elaine Thompson ready to go on the second leg down the back straight. Daphne Skippers will be chasing her or maybe ahead of her, who knows, depends on how the lead runners go. And Kambunji will be on the top bend, Lukkenkemper on the final leg for Germany. Always well supported this event. We always have the relays in the Lausanne Diamond League, don't we, and here in Zurich as well. A good chance, if you look at the World Outdoor list this year, the Dutch right up there. Of course, the US have had various different versions of teams, and Jamaica similar. But Great Britain, Netherlands sort of in the 42.3s, somewhere around about there. And tonight, you look at China with 42.5, Switzerland with 42.6. Not much to choose between the world's top teams. So France on the outside, China in 7, coming inside, it'll be Jamaica 6, Switzerland 5, Netherlands 4, Germany 3, Italy 2, Finland 1. Good clean start. China started well in lane 7, really good lead-off leg for them. Jamaica maybe just trying to chase down. Good changeover, everything pretty safe. And Elaine Thompson's got the baton now, and Daphne Skippers as well, charging down the back straight. There's the two of them. China out in the lead though, out in lane 7 to be shot at. Switzerland, a bit of a struggle for them, but Kambunji trying to bring them back into it, but it's the Netherlands going well now, and the Netherlands perhaps with a slight lead, and China right there, and Germany coming back into it. Lukkenkemper going away for them. This is a cracking finish. Who's going to get there in the end? It's the German team, 42.21. Well, thank you very much. That is quick. That is very, very quick. Now, one or two look behind and say what happened. The Netherlands were right in it. I said that she's new on the last leg for them, but that is the quickest in the world this year. This is a good German team, a new German team, but plenty of experience. Lukkenkemper herself's been coming back from injury, but goodness me, she ran brilliantly on the last leg. So 42.22, Netherlands, another strong run from them. They now have thrown themselves in the mix as well. That was nowhere near a top Jamaican team, and the Swiss, I don't think, performed as well as they might have wanted to, given in front of a home crowd. But well done, Germany.
But it's one of the wonders of the sprint relay, Steve, isn't it? The changeovers can make such a huge difference. An 8 out of 10 changeover can lose you half a metre over a 10 out of 10 changeover. And as we can see there, half a metre, and of course considerably less, can be the winning margin. That's a brilliant time from Germany. It's 1/100 slower than the fastest time in the world this year. So Kwai, Quadwo, Pinto and Lukkenkemper deserve all the credit that they're going to get through tonight as the athletes head back to the hotel just a few hundred meters down the street for their evening meal, their hard-earned evening meal. But the Netherlands so close up behind them. China, Switzerland, Jamaica, as you say, also under 43 seconds, although nothing like a Jamaican A squad.
Kambunji brought Switzerland back into it around the top bend, but good baton changing. You know, China were going pretty well. I think their last change wasn't such a good one. They still finished in 3rd place, 42.6, just outside their season's best. But yes, noteworthy performance from Germany.
Well, the performance of the day, there's no doubt about it. Just a few minutes ago here, Karsten Warholm of Norway, under threat from Rai Benjamin, 2 lanes inside him in the 400-metre hurdles, stayed half a metre clear, ran 46.92 to win from Benjamin's 46.98. The fastest time ever by a European, his 3rd European record of the summer for Warholm, fastest ever losing time for Rai Benjamin, and indeed the first time in history 2 men have gone under 47 seconds in the 400-metre hurdles. Kyron McMaster there, back in third place. The Commonwealth champion, a distant third in 48.58. Still great running from him. Without any doubt, the performance of the meeting, and that is saying something at any Zurich Diamond League meeting. Well, an astonishing first Diamond League final of 2019 here in Zurich. Don't forget to Echevarria's meeting record in the long jump, 8 meters 65. A very special night here in the Zurich Stadium. The Letzigrund has served up a smorgasbord of wonderful performances once again.
So preparations begin for the presentations while the German team